I needed to laugh last night. We need to get some of
Good
those.
morning, everybody. Hope you enjoyed your breakfast. We're going to get started. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of excited about this topic because it's very timely. And it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Garner. He's Director of Curriculum at the National Integrated Cyber Education Research Center in Boise City, Louisiana. He received a BS from the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy and his MBA and Doctorate of Education from the University of Phoenix. And after 10 years in the marine industry and 10 years in the classroom, so he knows about the class too, Dr. Garner now oversees the creation of academic content and workforce development initiatives that allow elementary, middle, and high school students the opportunity to relate STEM and cyber content to all subjects, including the humanities and liberal arts, in a point-driven and hands-on setting. So help me in welcoming Dr. Garner today.
Thank you. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Sorry to be barging in on your breakfast, but welcome back. I know this is the end of a long week. I was in Hampton Road, Exmoor on Monday with the agriculture folks, and it was the first day of their conference. So we were the pre-workshop, and there wasn't nearly this many people there. So this is a good test of what it is we're trying to roll out. So health and medical folks, welcome. Thank you for hanging out these 4 days. But first, let me get a selfie. Thanks. So we're here for some program area cybersecurity training, and what that means is you're all tasked with bringing some component of cybersecurity into your CTE classroom. So we're going to talk a little bit about what NICERC is and how we can support that. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the cybersecurity content that we have pre-existing, and then the third part of this will be looking specifically at health and medical and what conversations you can have with your students. We're not teaching hacking. We're not going to give kids tools to perform malicious events. NICERC, National Integrated Cyber Education Research Center, NICERC believes that students need a good cyber engineering background before we can talk about cybersecurity. So a lot of what we do is focus on cyber engineering. We talk about STEM, robotics, programming, a lot of liberal arts, ethics conversations, but we don't teach hard hacking skills. So that's not what this is about. If you thought this was, I apologize. It's not going to be hands-on coding. But we are, Regina tasked us with helping you have the conversation in your classroom. So that's pretty much what we're going to talk about today. So 2 quick questions. Why cybersecurity? Why do we need to know about cybersecurity? We mentioned before it's timely that I'm here today. Well, why? Forget about medical. Just in general, why is cybersecurity important for that conversation to have with students today? Right? Because the technology they're using, we call them digital natives. We're the digital immigrants. We're the ones that have to teach ourselves how to use this new technology. They've grown up with it in their hands for all their lives. Why else do we need to know cybersecurity? Why else is it relevant besides the technology that they have in their hands?
Well, because I mean, everything cyber is in our life, and it's in every part of our life now. So everything impacts us, and everything we have impacts the world. If it's breached or if it's taken, if it's violated. Right.
So it has so permeated our lives that we have to make sure that there are safeguards in place. We have to make sure that our records and all of our student records, forget about health and medical, right? We got FERPA to contend with first. We've got to make sure that everything is taken care of and secure when we need it to be. Any of you have experiences with cybersecurity to share? Her? Anybody? Identity theft of the gas pump? All right, happened to me.
I work in community colleges
Mm-hmm.
in this area, and all the employees,
Social Security number theft at a community college right here in the area. How long ago was that? Did they find out how they got released? Was it a trash dump? Papers that didn't get shredded? Oh, okay, so it was electronic. Yeah.
I had my checking account had it.
Mm-hmm. A checking account for a community. Oh, yeah. So Anthem is a healthcare provider?
Yes.
Okay. And during the switch over?
They does switch over and we found out that we were home agents who were working for us.
Mm-hmm.
That they were utilizing their own computers.
They were utilizing what?
Their own home computers.
Utilizing own home computers during home health care? That's probably not a good idea. Oh, all right. Can you click it here? When I did this in the bathroom, I made sure to turn it off.
Thank you.
I've heard that story, the pastor who had a lapel mic and he went to the restroom. Maybe it was a school board meeting. I think it was a school board meeting. In any event, we have a lot to talk about today, right? There's a lot of good content happening. We call some of our content, the law and order content because we rip it from the headlines. Literally, this stuff is coming from current events. I mean, you can't get more current than the stuff that's been happening in the news when we talk about cybersecurity and the threats against our way of life. So we are the Cyber Innovation Center. NICERC Cyber Innovation Center is the parent company, headquartered out of Bossier City, Louisiana. That's the northwest corner, 20 minutes from Texas, 20 minutes from Arkansas. We call it the Arquitex. It's so original. I'm originally from Long Island, so there we go. Like a jelly donut. I'm friendly and soft on the inside, and I got a hard crusty shell on the outside. So that's my New York, and then moved to Louisiana. I don't say y'all, so we'll just get that out of the way right now. The reason the other logo is up here is because Department of Homeland Security is our major funding partner. We've been working with Department of Homeland Security funding since 2011, 2012. And to date, they've invested over $15 million in NICERC's cyber program, cyber engineering. They identified us as the national model in cyber education back in 2014, and since then it's just been gangbusters. We've got this content from coast to coast. Basically, what it is, we write and distribute content from K through 12 for public schools. That includes 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, middle school content, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, high school content, and we're getting ready to roll out some elementary school content. We have what we call a cyber interstate. We want to differentiate this from a pipeline. The pipeline reference kind of implies what you put in is what you put out. We want to make sure that students have options along the way. So our content allows plenty of on-ramps and plenty of off-ramps. Students don't have to, there are no prerequisites throughout our content. We want to make sure that students have every opportunity to test the waters of what it is we call cyber. And then if it's not for them, they're not moved into all 4 years, they can exit at any point. We've got 6th through 12th grade programs running in some schools. We've got some teachers who use one module for their whole school year, and that's just one 3-week session. We've got folks who are doing this in an after-school program. So we're going to talk a little bit about what this is, but just understand that we write and distribute content, and we also support professional development. Our grant allows us to distribute this content free of charge to all teachers in all 50 states and U.S. territories. So we don't charge for our content, and we also don't charge for our professional development. So Virginia asked us to support the summer's worth of CTE area trainings. We said fine. They said, what's going to cost us? We said nothing, and everybody's happy. So here we are. So thank you for being in the seats. We report back to Homeland Security on how many teachers we impact. So the selfie was served two purposes. One, proof that I was here, and then two, that you were here. So thank you. I've got a camera set up that's just for me, not for you. There's 7 of these. I can't be at all of them. And I want to show other folks in my office how this went. Also, Judy Sams from Richmond asked to know how things went, so I'm going to report back to her with some of this footage. So it records about every 30-minute block, so if I go back over there and hit record again, don't worry. It's not on you, it's on me. So this is some of what we do. Where we do it, like I said, is from coast to coast. We've got over 5,500 teachers using our content. We've got a variety of implementation models. The colors show which state's using it most. As you can imagine, New York, California, and Texas have a lot of teachers, but that's because there are a lot of teachers in that area. What I love to see is that Virginia is the same shade as those 3 states, which means you don't have the quantity of teachers in the state, but you've got at least that quantity using our content, which is awesome. We've been working with Virginia now for 2 years. We were part of that cyber summer camp that happened last year. We'll talk a little bit about that. But the partnership that we've set up with Virginia is awesome. We love you guys, and we want you to know that we're here to support you anytime. Besides the content and professional development, we're problem solvers. So if you have any questions during the year, I'll make sure you have my contact info, our contact info, and you get a hold of us at any time. We also do, in addition to content, summer camps. We do residential week-long immersive camps. We do 3, as you saw in Virginia, the Cyber Summer Camp. We do robotics competitions. We have a competition called RARC, the Regional Autonomous Robotics Circuit. We'll talk a little bit about that also. But just understand we have a lot of content for whatever condition, whatever situation it is that you're looking to fill time, whether it's in the classroom, before school, after school, or on weekends, or in the summer. So I mentioned the cyber camp. This was great. How many people had schools that participated in this camp? It's got to be a couple in here. I have a slide with all the schools next, so those of you who raise your hands, you'll be on the board next. This was great. This was a great promotion by the governor to get behind cyber way back before anybody thought it was cool. We reached over 700 students, we reached over 200 teachers in a series of spring professional developments for the teachers, and then that 3-week summer camp for the students. And that was 2 summers ago. I'm following some of those schools on Twitter this summer, and they're rolling out again. They don't have the governor's backing. They didn't see us again for professional development. So this is all on them. So for the schools in Virginia who are rolling that camp out for a 2nd year, my hat's off to them. Congratulations, well done. And if any of those schools are here, I know Pulaski's one of them. Martinsville was another, so if you guys are here, well done. These are the areas that were served. This is one of 2 slides. There were 32 schools that rolled out this camp. So we brought them some of our middle school content, some of our high school content. And we encourage them to not just send STEM teachers, not just science and technology and engineering and math teachers, but give me your liberal arts teachers, give me your guidance counselors, give me an administrator or 2. We had no less than 8 people from every school represented at these workshops. And why is it important that guidance counselors are incorporated into this kind of training? You all know why, if you're high school teachers, right? These kids have to know what options are available to them. And how a guidance counselor is going to give good recommendations on what's available to them, they got to see it for themselves. So we brought everybody down to these trainings, and it was typically 2 days at a time. And everybody had a blast. We built robots, we made them do things. They built flashlights out of household supplies. And then we talked about all the liberal arts and the ethics that goes with all of those conversations. Some of the other schools on page 2. Anybody shout out? Or just the 2 that raised their hands? Movie.
The school I graduated from was on there.
Good. So that was our summer camp, and it was built on what we call STEM EDA and cyber literacy content. This is our cyber interstate. I don't know how visible it is for the folks in the back, though it's kind of washed out. But we've got content, like I said, that runs from K through 12. K-5 space, this icon is called STEM Foundations, and this is in development right now, but what it is a series of STEAM modules, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, that focuses on the scientific method. So students are identifying hypotheses, testing them, doing research in elementary school. It's great. Things like matter and energy and air that they're doing research on. So we're really excited about that content. We've got 2nd and 3rd grade should be coming online this year, and then 4th and 5th grade sometime in the spring of 2018. Moving into the middle school space, we've got STEM EDA, which is the top icon, incidentally. Each of these icons represents 180 hours worth of content. You can teach each of these for a full year, but they're also modular, which means you can take bits and pieces and incorporate them how you want, or rearrange them and shuffle them up however you want. STEM EDA for 6th through 8th grade is explore, discover, apply. So what we're doing there is we're using the engineering design process that students are going through research and projects that focus on engineering. So they're building flashlights, like I said, out of homemade supplies. They're learning about electricity, series and parallel circuits. They're learning about voltage and polarity. And then the context is they're cyber detectives. There's been a blackout in the city, which is why they need a flashlight. And they have to identify who the cyber attackers are, where their lair is, and then incorporate their flashlight into their story as they track down the cyber attackers. So it's a really great connection between, obviously, the education that you have to present and the content that you want to present. So we've got some fictional content in there paired together with this kind of a real-world application of electricity, and then they bring them together. We've got 12 modules for 6th grade, 12 for 7th, and 12 for 8th grade, which easily equates to a year's worth of content. Math Fundamentals and Algebra 1, those two courses are under development. We hope to have both of them rolled out by Christmas. We've got about half of each of them done, and what this is going to be a project-based math essentials and algebra course. So the math essentials could easily be a pre-algebra. It could just as easily be a kind of a remedial post-algebra course. And then Algebra 1, all mapped to Common Core state standards. And we love to provide crosswalks to help implement it with your local standards if you are not a Common Core state. I can't remember if Virginia is or not. You guys are helping science. Moving on to our high school content, the top row, Cyber Literacy 2, Cyber Science and Computer Science, Physics and Advanced Math. These are our cyber engineering courses. We start with Cyber Literacy. It's a course intended for high school freshmen that haven't had algebra. If you're teaching algebra in 8th grade, then that's a great 8th grade course also. But what we do with Cyber Literacy, and I'm going to explain a little bit about this in a second, is talk about not just the robotics, not just the cyberspace and what it means to be a good cyber citizen, but also we're talking about programming and electricity, again, and the ethics behind all of these conversations. Cyber Literacy 2 is much the same. They just take a deeper dive. Cyber Science was written by college faculty, and it's a really in-depth exploration into networks and the robotics again. But also we talk about artificial intelligence and some good conversations that have to happen in terms of cybersecurity. Computer Science is written for AP Computer Science Principles from the College Board, but it can also be taught as a standard computer science course. What we like about computer science is written on a platform called the Raspberry Pi. None of these courses have textbooks. It's the platforms that they're taught on. Cyber Literacy 2, Cyber Science, Physics, and Advanced Math use the robot from Parallax as the platform. So all the learning happens around that robotics platform. Computer science is taught around the Raspberry Pi. So students are programming in Python, they're programming in Scratch, and they're seeing the results in the real world because I can connect the Raspberry Pi to a breakout breadboard, and I can make lights flash by doing the coding in the virtual world. I can see this physical interaction. I can make motors come on. I can make sounds appear. So all some great things we can do with computer science on the Raspberry Pi. Physics and Advanced Math are both standalone courses. Physics meets all the requirements of a physics course for graduation. It's AG approved in the state of California. It's on the Pathway program in Louisiana. I'm not sure what the process is to get it on board here in I don't know where I am. Virginia for graduation credit, but I'd love to look into that if anyone has a cohort that might help with that conversation. And then the last icon down here is called Cyber Society, and that's kind of where a lot of the content that I envision you using comes from. Cyber Society is kind of this overarching conversation about cyber and the ethics connections. We have titles like cyber business, cyber law, cyber terrorism, cyber ethics. We've got a whole set of modules on artificial intelligence, and some new titles which are being written and which should be online shortly on cyberbullying and some rhetorical discussions on cyber. So all this content we support and give to you for free. We've got information on how to register for this coming up in just a couple slides. Take note of the site if you don't have a device that's connected. If you do, you can register now, and we've got folks back in the office who will get you active before the end of the day. So that's pretty cool. But first, an icebreaker. And this is a typo. It says pig pen. I apologize. I keep meaning to correct it, but this is pig pen. If you've heard of pig pen cipher, what we're going to do here is we're going to be able to communicate in a new language. And that's all about cybersecurity, right? Everything is foreign to you until you understand what it means. Like Greek, if you can't speak Greek, it's all Greek to you, right? So if you can't speak in Pigpen, you don't know what the message is going to say. But as soon as you learn the relationship between what the Pigpen alphabet is versus what our alphabet is, you'll have no problem decoding messages like Pig Latin, right? Or we took Spanish and French in school, and if you had trouble understanding that on the first day, well, that's to be expected. It's all foreign until you learn about it. And it's the same way with coding. It's the same way with programming robotics. It's foreign to you on day one, and that's fine. But the task is to get you comfortable with it, because once you're comfortable with it and you understand how things happen, you can communicate in that language. And once you can communicate, you can either use your powers for good or you can use your powers for evil. And our job is to make our students understand that they're going to use their powers for good. So I've got a couple copies. I don't know if I have enough for everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 3, 18 tables. I think I have 50, so I'll start with 2 per table. And you can, because this slide's going to change, so you can look on for now. Thanks. I'm good. Okay. That should be enough. 2 per table, and we've got a couple extras for the big tables to set in the back. It's okay, I got mine on you. Big tables to set in the back. All the cool stuff happens up here, you should know that by now. All right. So this is a Pigpen cipher, and what we need to do is understand how this alphabet works. So the handout has this exact same information at the top of the page, then it's got a little sample lesson for you. This comes out of our STEM EDA music module. So we've got a module on music. That doesn't mean you have to be a music teacher to teach it. What it means is we're teaching things like frequency and pitch and tension, because what students are doing is they're building a harp out of a frisbee and fishing line. And students are going to work for this fictitious HARP program, which stands for the Homeland Action Response Program. And through that, they're going to use this harp to play a certain amount of notes in the right order, and they're going to unlock a safe, which reveals to them documents that are encrypted. They have to decrypt the documents, and then they have to work together on these other challenges. But all the while, they're learning about science concepts, physics concepts, math concepts, and the humanities and liberal arts that goes with it. So that's where this comes from. So you've all seen the alphabet now. We've got all 26 letters represented. The only question is, how do we identify which one's which? So if I gave you this shape, what might you guess its letter equivalent is? So let's see. So it could be M, or it could be, well, this. If I see this shape on here, really the only place I get it is here. So it could be M, but it also could be N. And I'm going to tell you that this one is M, which means what is this one? Y. Right? So I've got 2 letters per grid space. I've got 2 letters, 2 letters, 2 letters, 2 letters. How do I identify the first from the second? Obviously the shape brings me to the right quadrant. And then the dot is the first or the second letter. So without a dot, it's an M. And with a dot, it must be the N. All of a sudden, the language is making sense to us. So you should get it right the first time. No, I asked why. You tell me. Why? It is Y, because I said so. No, it is Y, which means this one must be C. All right, you got it. Excellent. So a little backstory as to the supplies I brought with me today. When I saw the agriculture folks, and this is not a knock against the agriculture folks, when I saw the agriculture folks on Monday, they told me you'd have 15. And when we started, I had 4. And that's typical for summer workshops, right? We get a lot of people that say they're going to show up, and then on the day of the event, not too many show up. Unless it's right smack in the middle of the event. So then I saw the schedule, and I saw that you guys, this was your last day. So I figured, yeah, it's probably going to be the same amount of trail off. And then I showed up this morning, and I mean, it's a full house. So, so my supplies, hats off to you. This is also a great facility, so I wouldn't mind staying the extra day either. So my supplies are a little limited. I've got these Pigpen ciphers which need to be deciphered, but I've only got 40 of them. And what this is designed to do is designed to be an icebreaker, where everybody gets one, and then you have to get up and find someone who had the same message as you and share your thoughts. Since I only have 40, and I have almost 40 tables, so we'll do about, again, 2 per table. We'll see how many we have left over, and then, so if you wouldn't mind helping me out there. Help me out with the center tables. There's folks here right now. I've got something. Present. So pick a message and decipher.
Thank you.
More books going. You can write on this. It's disposable. There should not be 2 of the same messages at the table, so you guys can share. So there shouldn't be. You can talk about it at the table. If you want to get up and find someone else who has that message, you can see how this icebreaker works. Have you figured it out yet? Gotta decode it first.
So y'all can get
I have a couple extra copies of this, if anybody wants one. Anybody want an extra copy of this?